The story begins with a couple named Mason and Amelia, who were on their private jet, heading to attend a lavish party. Soon they arrived at the venue and started enjoying the event. They met a man named Perez, who was the wealthiest person there, and also the host of the party. During their conversation, Mason mentioned that he had a collection of cars and was very passionate about them. Hearing this, Perez became excited because he also had a deep interest in collecting cars. He then invited Mason and Amelia to his private garage to showcase his luxurious car collection. Perez showed them his favorite car, which was worth approximately $200 million. Seeing the car, Mason and Amelia expressed their desire to sit inside and experience it. Perez agreed and allowed them to get in. As soon as they sat inside, Amelia discreetly signaled to a hacker named Link, who immediately turned off all the lights in the garage. Meanwhile, Mason's men attacked Perez and knocked him to the ground. Taking advantage of the chaos, Mason started the car and fled the scene. It was then revealed that Mason and Amelia were professional thieves, and their true intention in attending the party was to steal the car. They loaded the car into a large truck and attempted to flee the country. However, before they could escape, an FBI team began chasing them. Mason was shocked, wondering how the FBI had discovered their plan, but his confusion was quickly resolved when Amelia suddenly pointed a gun at him. At this moment, a major twist was revealed. Amelia was not a thief, but an undercover FBI agent. She had pretended to love Mason just to catch him red-handed. Mason was heartbroken because he truly loved Amelia. Despite his feelings, he signaled his team to execute Plan B. Immediately, his team members dumped all the stolen vehicles into a river, preventing the FBI from catching them with the evidence. Though they failed to steal the car, they barely managed to escape from FBI custody. 3 months later, Mason had left his life of crime behind and was living a quiet, ordinary life outside the city. One day, his younger brother Sean visited him and proposed a new plan to rob a bank. However, Mason refused, stating that he was retired and did not want to get involved in any more trouble. Sean tried to convince him, but when Mason remained firm, Sean left, handing him a phone in case he changed his mind. 3 days passed, and Mason did not change his decision. However, on the day of the heist, Link called him, asking why he was late for the robbery. Mason was shocked. He had already refused to participate. It turned out that Sean had told his team that Mason was on board with the plan. Furious, but realizing that things had already escalated, Mason was forced to join the mission to manage the situation. Meanwhile, Sean sat in a coffee shop near the bank, waiting for the bank manager, who visited the shop every day. As soon as the manager arrived, Sean held him at gunpoint and took him inside the bank. However, just as they were about to enter, Mason arrived and stopped them. He warned Sean that the plan was flawed and that they would all be killed. But Sean insisted it was too late to turn back, since their team had already infiltrated the bank. Inside the bank, Mason saw that his team members had disguised themselves as regular customers. Sean took the manager to a corner and ordered him to open a vault. However, instead of opening the vault, the manager triggered the bank's security alarm. Chaos erupted as security guards started firing at the thieves, but Mason's team quickly overpowered them and took all the customers hostage. Mason then asked Sean what the real target was. Sean revealed that they were after a specific locker belonging to a woman named Isabel Farrow, which contained a hard drive worth millions of dollars in cryptocurrency. Mason took the manager to the vault and ordered him to open the locker. However, there was a catch. The locker required 2 keys, one with the manager and the other with Isabel herself. Sean was completely unaware of the second key. Furious at Sean's poor planning, Mason instructed Link to hack the locker. Within minutes, Link bypassed the security system and opened the locker, but to their shock, the hard drive was missing. The manager laughed and revealed that the locker was a decoy, and even he did not know where the real one was. Furious, Mason scolded Sean for his terrible plan. Meanwhile, outside the bank, an FBI team, led by Amelia, had arrived, surrounding the building. Amelia contacted Mason's team, and Link tried to stall her with conversation, but Amelia saw through the tricks and demanded to speak directly to Mason. Mason instructed Sean to keep an eye on the manager, and then went to talk to Amelia. Hearing Amelia's voice brought back old memories, but Mason quickly reminded himself that she was now his enemy. Mason then started negotiating with Amelia, demanding that the FBI move their forces 50 feet away from the bank, or he would start killing hostages. He also demanded pizza and beer, which Amelia herself had to deliver inside the bank. Amelia agreed, but in exchange, asked for the release of 2 hostages, which Mason accepted. Mason's team moved all the hostages to an upper hall and waited for Amelia. A while later, Amelia arrived with the food and met Mason. Mason flirted with her, but Amelia ignored him and asked him to surrender. When Mason refused, she left the bank. As per the deal, Mason's team fed the hostages and released 2 of them. However, something unexpected happened. The bank manager attacked Sean, stole his gun, and attempted to escape. Mason chased after him and, after a long pursuit, finally captured him. Interrogating the manager, Mason learned that Isabel Farrow was the wife of a powerful gangster named Abel. The hard drive likely contained incriminating evidence against corrupt politicians, which could jeopardize the government if exposed. Despite this knowledge, Mason decided to steal the hard drive, hoping to use it as leverage to escape. Meanwhile, a car arrived outside the bank, carrying Abel's lawyer, Alex. He ordered Amelia to capture the thieves within the next hour, or else the U.S. Army would storm the bank. Amelia was confused about who this man was, but after speaking with her supervisor, she learned that Alex was a lawyer for Abel, who had deep connections with powerful politicians. Her supervisor advised her to get the thieves out of the bank as quickly as possible, as a military intervention would likely result in the deaths of both the robbers and hostages. Inside the bank, Mason's team began breaking down walls, believing the real vault was hidden behind them. However, each time they broke a wall, another one appeared. Meanwhile, the U.S. Army had surrounded the bank, preparing to storm in. Amelia called Mason, urging him to surrender, as their deaths were certain once the army entered. Mason told Amelia to leak the news to the media that the army was about to attack. This would prevent the military from taking action under public scrutiny. Amelia followed through, and soon, news outlets arrived at the scene, broadcasting the situation nationwide. Furious at Amelia's actions, the FBI removed her from the case. As the army prepared to enter, Mason and his team finally found the hidden vault. Link started hacking it, but it required 10 minutes to unlock, while the army would enter in just 8. To buy time, Mason began releasing hostages one by one. Eventually, only the manager remained. And after releasing him, Mason's team started surrendering one by one, except for Mason and Link, who remained inside. The FBI head ordered the army to kill Mason on sight. Soldiers stormed in and found Mason holding a bomb. Before they could react, an explosion occurred, seemingly killing Mason and the soldiers. However, months later, Amelia resigned from the FBI, unwilling to work with corrupt officials. She took a vacation on a private island, where Mason was waiting for her. Now, it is revealed that Mason and Amelia had been on the same team from the very beginning. They had intentionally sabotaged Perce's car heist so that the FBI would trust Amelia. The story now takes us into a flashback, just moments before the explosion. When the U.S. Army entered the bank, Mason made a demand. He wanted to meet Abel's lawyer, Alex. Although reluctant, they had to accept Mason's demand because all the evidence was still in his hands. A little later, Alex arrived to meet Mason, where Mason threatened him. "If you don't transfer $500 million into my account, I will make all this evidence public. Also, you must give my team and me new identities so that we can start a new life with a new name." Since Abel's fate was in Mason's hands, he had no choice but to agree to all of Mason's demands. After that, a fake explosion was staged at the bank so that everyone would believe Mason had died. Meanwhile, Mason and Aaliyah left behind their life of crime and started a new life with new identities.